no. Maybe 1 hour I will be, but no.
In 1 hour. At what time are you going right now?
Mm, I pretend to go like 10 or something like that after my breakfast because
After your breakfast. Okay, sounds good. And what about Fed? What time do you go to the gym?
at 10, at 10
At
o'clock,
10 too.
10 a.m.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good time. That's a good time to go. You're so
Yeah,
lucky
maybe.
to go at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Mhm.
our job allows us to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a positive thing about being by yourself. Because in other cases, oof, no, it was a whole mess. Hmm. Which is good. It's pretty good. So just wake up, get yourself. Yeah. How do you like quit the sensation of being sleepy?
Drinking coffee.
Drinking coffee? Really?
Yeah.
Cool. And Sophie?
Mm, with the time, I don't like to drink coffee
Mm-hmm.
in the first hours of the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, no, I don't have any. Maybe I start to do all my things, my
Okay.
activities, but like
Yeah.
wash dishes or cooking, something that is more that I have to move, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's my yeah. I think that it is my way.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna suggest that precisely. If you wanna feel like totally awoken, sorry, for your class, you should definitely wake up early. I would try to wake up 1 hour before the class, and then, oh, energy comes out. Energy starts flowing. Mhm. That's a good suggestion. Let's see. What about Connie, for example? How do you avoid being sleepy every day?
I always try to sleep early
Yes, super important.
the night before. And also, I am. Some people tell me that I am an early bird
Yeah. Hmm. You're
because I
always
prefer,
with good energy.
yeah, I always prefer to wake up early than finish all my activities.
Hmm. Yeah, precisely. That's a very good activity. A very good thing to do. Well, sleeping early, probably postponing some stuff, but caring about your sleep hours.
Yes.
That's very important. Very good, guys. Very good. Well, we're talking about random stuff right now because the idea right now is to start talking about the essay. All right. Have you ever done an essay for an exam? Yes, yes. What about Connie?
Yes.
Yes. What about it? Have you ever done an essay?
I think yes. Don't remember.
A long time ago, right?
Yeah.
In your case. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about what an essay does, what we're supposed to do on an essay, and what's this. Okay? So let's start about with the definition. The definition says that an essay is a short piece of writing by a student as part of a course of study. A course of study. The idea that this is a course of study is that you implement new strategies and vocabulary that you see in your course of study into your paper, right? Because many of the students that start writing don't give emphasis to the vocabulary that you are watching in the course, right? They start writing directly, boom, 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 this is my idea, finish, that's it. And we commit many mistakes. We don't use vocabulary, we don't proofread. Proofread. To proofread is to read, then correct a piece of written or printed work. Sometimes we write it. We never read it again. We just press send and whatever God has to show me, you know? So the idea of an essay is to make you yourself aware of the way you communicate stuff. When we are speaking, it's a little bit more difficult to overanalyze your mistakes. It's not impossible, but it's a little bit more difficult. When you're writing, you should have a much higher level of uh, of communication. Definitely, your writing should be always higher than your speaking level. So I want you to emphasize the attention on the essay right now. Okay, the essay in any exam, TOEFL, B2, etc., has a very particular structure, and it's very specific tasks. You will be given some tasks like these ones. For example, it is over here. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? It is more important for students to study art and literature than it is to study math and science. It is more important. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Provide reasons and examples to support your opinion. Right? So they give you a controversial topic and you should be able to elaborate your answer. Number two, your friend has decided to switch careers but isn't sure which to choose. What advice would you give them? Provide reasons and examples to support your response. You see, this is more like a real life situation, but that doesn't mean you cannot use an essay structure. The essay can be communication in any way. It can be an email, it can be a message, it can be any type of writing. Look at number three. Describe an annual day in your country when you give people special gifts. What's an annual day? Who can identify what an annual day is?
A celebration.
Good. Perfect. Holiday. Right? It's called annual day because it happens once a year. Right? Number four. Describe a fear you had to overcome. How did you overcome it? Synonym for overcome? One synonym for overcome?
Deal.
To deal, probably, incomplete. Deal with.
Okay. Deal with.
A fear you had to deal with, a fear you had to face, to confront.
Confront.
This is to overcome. Number five. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Video games offer benefits to children. Provide reason and examples to support your stance. Okay. All these lists, are different examples of what type of topics can be assigned to you at the exam, right? So it's important to have like a clear mindset, enough vocabulary in order to be able to speak it. And there are three abilities that you should have in mind. Number one, vocabulary, of course. Right? Let's start talking about what an essay needs. Everything's over here. Over here. What do you need for an essay? Number one, a wide range of vocabulary. Going from A2 to B2. I really suggest that you have A2 vocabulary is pretty simple, but B2 vocabulary is very recent. So the idea is that you like take 2 or 3 words from or synonyms that are a little bit more complex, so you can, number one, avoid repetition. Good vocabulary avoids repetition. Right? Good vocabulary gives a closer view of your opinions and ideas. A2 vocabulary doesn't provide as such a closer view to your opinions than B1 and B2 vocabulary, right? Because A2 vocabulary is like survival vocabulary, and B2 vocabulary is a little bit more specific stuff, right? So this number one is super important to have it right? Secondly, that's for vocabulary. Right? There are some expressions like introduction words give a sequence to your ideas, such as, first of all, secondly, at the end, which are expressions that we collocate at the beginning of a paragraph, right? And these are considered vocabulary. So that's number one. On number two, we can talk about a wide vocabulary, structure control, right? When we are talking about structures, we are talking about construction of sentences, right? When do I need to use active voice and passive voice? What type of past sentence should I use? This is if I am speaking present. If I'm speaking in present, going past. What are you talking about? If you're speaking in past, what type of past should I use? What do you mean? Using a simple past, using was plus ing, using have plus past participle, using had plus past participle, or using the perfect modals that we saw the last week. Would have, should have, could have, may have, etc. Right? Those are the 5 different pasts that exist. Right? And in the same way, talking in present, if I'm speaking in present, what type of present should I use? If I am speaking about things that are my routines, let me give you the structure handbook. Structures handbook. Here we go. If I am speaking about routines, then I should use the verb in present, right? Or the verb with s, right? If I am speaking about things that are happening right now, I need structure number 4, ing plus, well, verb to be plus ing. If I am speaking about current actions that are momentary, I need structure number 4, right? But if I am speaking about other types of contexts, for example, abilities that usually happen in present, may and might, which are kind of present too, or recommendations such as should and must for obligations and probability, I should alternate these structures and use different structures in my speech. All these structures are considered basic structures, right? I think the most complex is to use past, but even though we sometimes have issues with should, could, might, we don't identify the difference, and this is like priority. If you don't dominate this, tell me, because you need to do exercises ASAP, as soon as possible. Okay? These are the most fundamental parts of English. Now, let me clarify the first point. First point was, when do I need to use active voice and passive voice? No? Passive voice is used when the person who does the action is not so important, so relevant to the story, right? For example, you have over here, use passive voice when the object is the star of the story, or when the subject, when who did the action is obvious or irrelevant. What does it mean? Let's imagine I tell you, somebody stole my phone. Somebody stole my phone. Who stole my phone? We don't know. Is it relevant then to say somebody? It's not. Therefore, we need structure for passive voice. My phone was stolen. You see? Instead of someone stole my phone. The first sentence gives too much emphasis on the subject someone. The second sentence gives emphasis on my cell phone. You see? This passive voice happens when you are talking about authorities, talking about the police, the government, the teacher, the director, things like that. When you are talking about a subject that is irrelevant, someone, somebody, anybody, etc., and when the object is the star of the story, technically, the thing is the star of the story. That's what I mean with structures. And finally, with talking about structures, using complex connectors to put sentences together. What are complex connectors? Simple. Number one, we can talk about relative clauses that are that, which, who, where, when, to connect two ideas together. Conditional, such as if, unless, etc. If, unless, and connectors that we haven't seen, but it's are very important. Whether or, neither nor, either or, both and. Are you familiar with these connectors? Yeah? Have you used them?
No.
No?
I'd like to repeat the topic. I know them, but yeah.
We are going to do that. We are definitely going to do that because it's super important to use it in an essay and in your speaking. If you can do a whether or when you are speaking, oh my god, the TOEFL is a joke. Yeah, piece of cake. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do: whether or, neither or, either or, both and, etc. And that's it for structures, I think. That's what I wanted to tell you, and we are going to check these connectors very soon. What about unless? Can you use unless? No, come on, Kanye, you can do this. Let me tell, for example, if a normal condition, no? If I tell you, if I eat too much sugar, I will get fat, right? Imagine the same structure, but the first is negative. I don't eat sugar.
Yes, I don't eat sugar unless
Switch. The word unless substitutes the word if.
I don't eat sugar. No, it's at the beginning, right?
Exactly. You need to
Unless
replace if.
I don't eat sugar because I get fat.
Because, no, eliminate because. Word unless is similar to if. So you say, if I eat too much sugar, I will get fat, right? There's no other connector. The connector is if, right? So if you say unless, the first part becomes negative. Unless I eat sugar, I won't. Negative.
I won't
I
get.
won't get fat.
Okay, got it.
You see?
Yes.
It's very similar, if you analyze it, it's very similar to say if not. But if not is incorrect. Nobody says if not.
Yes, I never heard that.
That's super weird, no?
Yes.
If and unless.
Okay.
Let's try to make an example. Try to make this negative, okay? Let's go, Connie. If I don't study, I won't pass the exam.
Unless I study,
Mm-hmm.
I won't pass the exam.
Mm-hmm. Easy peasy? Japanese. Exactly. Make this negative. Fair. If I don't buy that car, I won't be happy.
Unless I buy the car, I will be happy.
Unless I buy the car, I will.
I'm going to be happy.
No, I mean, don't change the structure because will is not similar to going to. But it's contradictory. If I don't buy the car, right, I won't be happy. If you say, unless I buy the car, I will be happy, positive, that's a contrary.
Okay, so unless I buy the car, I will not be happy.
Exactly. Because the condition to be happy is to buy the car.
Okay.
You see? Sophie, if I play too much if I play too much video games, I will get stressed.
If I play video games, too much video games,
Yeah.
I will get stressed.
Yes, but that one is for Sophie. Wait. just a second.
Sorry.
Yes. Actually, Sophie. If I play video games or too much video games, I will get stressed.
If I no, unless I play video games,
Mhm.
I won't
Uh-huh.
get so much stress.
Exactly. That's the one very good. If I unless I play too much video games, I won't I won't get stressed. You see? So the idea changes into negative because unless is similar to a negative, right? It's if I spend if I spend too much on makeup, if I spend too much on makeup, I will not buy that. I don't know. If I spend too much on makeup, I will not have money for that trip.
But no, for example, teacher.
Yes. What a coincidence.
Unless I spend too much on makeup, I won't get my trip. I don't remember the part.
Wait. Unless I spend too much on makeup, I won't. That's contradictory. Because unless is similar to if not. So if you don't spend money, you will
Yes.
have your vacation.
Okay, yes.
You see? So unless is a negative. If is a positive.
Yes. Unless I spend too much on makeup, I won't get my trip.
Same problem. Unless is similar to if not. So you are saying, if I don't spend money, I won't get my trip.
Okay, yeah.
It's supposed that if you don't spend money, you will. Positive.
I'm confused now.
You're confused. Give me your question.
If I spend Yes, if I spend too much on, no, unless I spend too much on makeup, I will get my trip.
Exactly.
Yes.
It makes sense, no?
Yeah.
Unless I spend too much on makeup, I will get my trip. That means that if I spend too much on makeup, I won't get my trip. Does that make sense?
Yes. No, I can have both. Thank you.
I can have yes, of course, but this is didactical. Come
No.
on. Yes. Right? And the idea is to understand the difference between if and unless, right?
Yeah.
Which is very, very confusing, but very effective for your essay. Okay? The last two is whether or, neither or, and either or. In a moment, we're going to see some more examples about these because we are going to see an example, an essay sample, right? But I want to cover the last ability. The first one is a wide range of vocabulary. The second is a wide structure control. And the third one is essay structure. These are the triangle of abilities that you need. What do I mean with essay structure? Well, that your structure has your essay having an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Right? All specified by the information that you are given. Right? Of course, this last point is helped with the previous ones, vocabulary and structures. If your structures are coherent, right, the structure will be coherent, right? You need to talk about cohesion. Are you familiar with the word cohesion? No? All right, let's go to the dictionary. Cohesion.
Cohesion.
All right, please read it, Cody.
Cohesion, the act or state of keeping together. Cohesion of the nuclear family. Okay.
Probably. No, yeah, I like this. Keeping together. What means keeping together in an essay in particular is that your topic is in the same path. It's very common that when people write an essay, they start talking about something and they finish talking about something else. So cohesion means talk about the same topic. Don't go to a different topic, right? And of course, coherence. Help me, Alex.
Coherence.
Hello, man.
Hello, coherence. A situation in which all parts of something fit together well.
That's the one. Which is again very similar to cohesion, but in coherence there is a sequence of ideas, right? Strong ideas formed together. Any question about what we're talking about? Cool. Because I want to see you in action. Okay? I want to see how you write. I want to see how you speak. And your speech and your essay should have these particular components. Okay? So in order to give you an idea, we are going to read this essay, right? This particular essay is the demonstration of the perfect essay that can pass the exam. Okay? The question assigned was, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? It is more important for students to study art and literature. This is the question that we read before. Study art and literature than it is to study math and science. Provide reasons and examples to support your opinion. Okay? We start with the reading. Let's analyze every paragraph. Read paragraph number 1. It's a
there is not shortage
the
of
first pronunciation
opinion.
was right.
Shortage. There is no shortage
Again,
of
again,
opinion.
is an SH.
Short
One time.
shortage. Oh, there is no shortage of opinion.
Watch out, you are pronouncing an S with this SH.
Shortage. There is no shortage. Yes.
Shortage.
Short. Oh.
Not
There is
shortage.
not shortage of opinion on whether it is better for a student to learn art and literature, yes, literature, or math and science. In my opinion, I disagree with the statement. I think it is more important for people to study math and science. The following paragraphs will explain my 2 major reasons for this opinion.
Perfect. Perfect.
Sure.
So let's analyze this paragraph. Okay? In this paragraph, there are many things going on. Number 1. Let me put it like this. Okay. In this first paragraph, there are many things going on. Number 1, there is B2 vocabulary that, as you saw, it was very difficult to pronounce because probably was the first time we saw this. This one over here. I think shortage is B2 vocabulary. Or B1. Of course.
Shortage.
What is shortage? Help me, Fer.
A situation when there is not enough of the people or things that are needed. Food, housing, water, shortage.
Again, 1, shortage. And 2,
Shortages.
shortages, exactly. That is right. So when we're talking about B2 vocabulary, shortage, can you define what is shortage? Can you explain to the class?
Me? It's when you're missing something. No, not missing. When there's a lack of something.
There's a lack of something. Okay, there's a lack of something. That's a very good one. There's a lack of something. Okay, I thought you were going to continue.
No, I don't have an idea.
Okay, that's it. It's a lack of something. Let's imagine that you have a shortage. Is what happens with the chips. Did you hear about the chip crisis there was in last year? Nobody
The
heard
what,
about it.
sorry?
Chip crisis. There was this electronics
Uh,
that was not there was not enough for all the products that were there. Okay, context. Last year, many of the manufacturers stopped producing machines and gadgets and technically everything because they couldn't get chips. They are called monotransistors or something like that. They are monoelectronics. I don't remember the name. But these particular chips today they exist in everything. When you think in chips, what do you think about? Where do you think chips are necessary?
cell phones,
Exactly. We automatically think about cell phones, and if a cell
the
phone has a chip,
computer. Mhm.
computers, exactly. So first we start talking about cell phones and computers, and you're like, nah, this is not a problem, no? Like the cell phone is not a priority product. Okay, and what happens when the machines that make food also need chips? Then you're like, okay, so that is more worrying because now we are not talking about the third necessity product, we are talking about the first necessity product. And many of the companies like Nestle and what else? P&G and these companies that make medicine, stuff like that, they stopped production too because they couldn't have chips to get resources to make food and medicine for the people. Jesus Christ, so it became a massive issue. That happened last year. And today, there is a very interesting story behind, but this is a clear example of a shortage. A shortage of chips, right? This particular thing is what we talk about when you are trying to write an essay. It's not necessary to fill your essay with B2 vocabulary, but it's very specific vocabulary. Do you agree? Now, structures. Talking, for example, about this type of examples. Whether it is better for a student to learn art and literature. Let's put it in a different color. Or math or science. Okay? In this particular case, what are we talking about? Whether it is better for students to learn art and literature or math and science. This is a clear example of a whether or structure. They are complex connectors, right? Whether or are connectors used in a particular way. Let's go through the dictionary. Used to express a doubt or choice. Doubt or choice, right? Between two possibilities. Which one are we using in this in this example? Doubt or choice?
Choice, right?
Precisely, because you're choosing between two things. Option number one,
Art.
incomplete.
Art and literature.
Exactly. Art and literature is option number one. Option number two,
Math and science.
math and science, which is the problem that we are getting in the question. The question is saying, let me just give it. This question is saying, it is more important for students to study art and literature than it is to study math and science. You see? This is precisely the topic of the question, and whether or is giving us that specific information. You see? We, as Spanish speakers, sometimes we ignore complex structures like this because they don't exist in Spanish, right? That's a total mistake. The fact that doesn't exist in Spanish doesn't mean that it's not common in English. So when we are thinking in Spanglish, we avoid these type of structures. My tip is don't avoid complex structures. Use this information. Okay? Use it and use it correctly. This is compliance with number 2, a wide structure control. Okay. And last but not least, essay structure. When we are talking about essay structure, this is clearly, this paragraph is clearly the introduction of the paper. Commonly known as topic sentence. Okay, what is a topic sentence? Who can tell me?
But what subjects are more important to learn for students? And they give you two options.
But in talking about the structure, not about the topic.
Okay.
Structure of the essay. Let me help you another one. It's known as topic sentence or thesis statement. What does thesis statement, or what do you understand with thesis statement?
The main information that they want to talk about.
That you
Yes.
want to talk about because you're gonna write it.
Yes.
Precisely. The topic that I'm going to develop in the body is established in the first paragraph. All right? All the body and the conclusion will be about the thesis statement. You know what I mean? That's why it's super important to know what we are talking about. Right? In this case, paragraph number 1 is perfectly stating the thesis statement because he's saying, I disagree with the statement. And when the person establishes this disagreement, automatically we know the intention of the text. Right? A thesis statement gives the intention and reason for the essay. It's the main idea that the author wants to communicate to the reader. So this is where you
Sure.
establish the main idea. Alex.
A thesis statement, it's similar like the approach
Similar
to the approach.
to the approach. To the approach. I don't think so, because approach would not cover everything that a thesis statement is. If you see the definition of approach, it's more like the way of dealing with something. If we are talking about the act of speaking to somebody about something, probably this one, especially when they are making an offer or a request. Yeah, no, this is different. Very, very different. An approach is more like the reason. That's why you said approach, no? Because I wrote reason.
Yes, I thinking about the in Spanish el planteamiento.
No, in English. How would you say that in English?
I suppose the word is approach, but read the when I read the definitions, maybe it's not the near word that
Exactly.
explains, no?
Yeah, I think that a very common mistake here is the translations that we have given to the wrong words.
Yes, I heard that word when we are in a meeting and someone explains some topic that they want to change in the maybe in the procedure, and maybe the boss said, I don't understand your approach because maybe this is not the right solution for that project, something like that.
Yeah, I don't understand your approach would be a synonym to say I don't understand your request or your offer.
Yes.
That's when the type of words that we think in Spanish kind of match one, and then we associate both words incorrectly. So I think that's one of the objectives of point number one. The vocabulary must match the English definition, not the idea that you have from Spanish to English. So the dictionary is fundamental here. In an exam, you cannot open a dictionary, unfortunately. So you should have like some words clarified before you do an essay. Got it?
Okay.
That was a very, very good observation, because that that opened a second issue. Wrong translations will affect the reading and the comprehension of the text.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Let's go to the next one, right? Paragraph number 2. Let's go and read Sophie.
First of all, science and math are more valuable than art and literature because knowledge of math and science is necessary for understanding and advancing technology. Technology has led this world to become extremely interconnected. The
Again,
internet.
What has technology done?
Technology has led this word to become extremely.
What is the past of lead?
The past of what? Of
Lead. Mhm.
let.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Again.
Technology has led. Technology has led this world to become extremely interconnected. The internet, cell phones, and airplanes are all technological advances that people use every day and would not be possible without students of math and science inventing them. Inventing. I heard a story on the news once that illustrates my point quite well. Used plastic is overflowing and landfills,
Watch out, is not and.
land, overflowing landfills.
Mm, I said and. And is a connector. You read and, but it doesn't say and. Again, what is overflowing?
Okay, used plastic is overflowing in
And.
landfill.
Exactly. In, not and.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'm polluting. Okay, I'm polluting to seas. However, clever scientists have found interesting ways to reuse wasted plastic. In India, they mix throw out plastic waste with asphalt and use it to pave new roadways. This invention is made possible because of science and math, and it can help solve the pollution problems in the oceans. If students do not continue to learn math and science, then more technologies of the future, like this one, may never be created. In order to continue making technological advancements, it is better for students to study science and math.
Very good. Okay, let's talk about it in a moment. Jessie will pass attendance. Hello, Jess.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
So it's here. Connie?
Here, good morning.
Connie, thank you. It's a
Here, good morning.
good morning. Thank you. Jesus?
Chucho, not here.
Okay. Luis?
Here, good morning.
Good morning, Alejandro. Thank you. Sophie?
Here you see, morning.
Thank you, Sophie. Morning. And Perry.
Here, Jessie. Morning.
Thank you, Perry. Morning. So, any somebody else?
That's it, girl. Good
Thank
job.
you. Have a good day.
You too. See you later.
See you.
Okay. Can anybody tell me what was the point or the example that this person made in the essay? What was the first opinion?
To prove why it is more important to learn about math and science
Yeah.
with real examples.
What example did she or he used?
The person used like a story of technology and recycle story also.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Something
Uh,
happening with trash, no?
mhm.
Good. And how did this person establish the connection with these topics and studying math and science?
Like with what structure?
No, I mean, what?
Or
How did she connect these topics? Because the
how?
first topic looks very different from the main topic, like talking about trash.
Okay. Well, the person said that um, that they are inventing something that can help with the roads,
Mhm.
and that only can be invented if people study math and science.
And science, excellent. That's right. So she made two or three examples that are that seem non-related, and then at the end she connected with all these issues can be solved if you continue studying math and science. That's why it was established. As you can see in the second part of the paragraph, there is more unrelated stuff that at the end is connected, right? This is a very important part of the body. Let's analyze it. Part 2. If we are talking about paragraph number 2, there are more unrelated structures here, or there are more unrelated or seemingly unrelated ideas in the body of the text, right? This particular thing, the unrelated ideas, can be the most important difference between the body and the introduction. Okay? Many people confuse the introduction and they collocate body structures into the introduction. They start talking about examples and they start talking about many other topics in the first part of the paragraph before the thesis statement. What you need to do is to first give me a thesis statement and then develop your idea with examples. Never the opposite way. Never start an essay with examples. That's my point. You know what I mean? That can lower your score very significantly. Very. So that can be the most important part. Never start your essay with examples. This is for the body. Okay, and then we have a lot of complex vocabulary, right? Is there any word that you don't understand in the body?
Yeah, landfills.
Landfills, of course, that's very specific. What is the topic? It says here, used plastic is overflowing in landfills and polluting the seas. The topic is?
The how plastic how plastic polluting the sea.
But if you use, if you say the topic of this sentence in one word, what word would you use?
Maybe pollution?
Kinda. Use plastic is not pollution.
Contamination?
Pollution is similar to contamination. What are we talking about here? Used plastic. Anybody help?
Damage of plastic?
Damage? No. There's no damage.
No, I don't know.
Anybody?
I think that is
Recycle?
Recycle? No. What about? What idea did you have? Use plastic. When you have a bag of Doritos, you finish your Doritos and then you put it to the
Trash.
That's just plastic. So the main topic is trash in this case, right? After that, we recycle and everything that you said, but mainly, we're talking about trash. Thinking about trash can make you understand what a landfill is. Think about a land with a lot of trash. Do you know? Landfill. This is where the destination of all trash. You see? So that's why it's very important to have first the topic in mind so you can understand individual stuff. And then you can hear it read. Used plastic is overflowing, like it's getting too much of this, in landfills and polluting the seas. You see? And that's it. With this information, for example, we can know what is overflowing. What's the meaning of overflowing?
There is not enough space.
It's not enough space. Very good. Very similar to filling. Filling landfills. Asphalt. What is asphalt?
Thing that we use for the streets.
The thing we use for the streets. I had to do what?
In the floor.
Yeah, exactly. That's the asphalt, right? And this person is saying that in India, they are mixing plastics and other components to make pavement, to pave streets with asphalt. So this is the science approach that the person is giving. Right? Makes total sense, no? This person is defending very clearly science and math. Science and math. That is the priority. And this is a development of the thesis statement. Okay? So the idea that you need to cover right now is build a thesis statement and then think about examples. Okay? We are going to build the conclusion later, but I want you to establish at least first a thesis statement. Okay? Let me provide a topic to you. The topic we're going to work with will be this one. Please read the task, Connie.
If you had to work on a project for a school, would you rather work alone, work with classmates, or work with a tutor?
Tutor. What would you rather? Elaborate a thesis statement without examples. Okay. We have 5 minutes for that. 1, 2, 3, action. I know. Let me pass you a Google Doc so we can work on that, no? Okay. I'm gonna pass you the link through the chat. Please log in, type your name, and write your thesis statement below your name. Good. Sophie and Alex, I see you writing.
Sorry, teacher, I need to download an application to write the statement.
Really? Are you
Yes,
working on the phone or?
actually, it down now. I try to write because I am in the cell phone.
Ah, you're on the phone. Yeah, this only works in the computer. The but no, you don't have to.
Yes, but it is already.
You already downloaded it.
Yes.
Okay. What application? Drive? Docs.
Google.
Docs.
I don't know, Google something.
It should be documents.
Yes.
Yeah, probably stocks. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's Google Docs. You done, Connie? I would say that it's important to know the other person, right? First. Okay, two observations over here.
Okay.
Parentheses are not needed. Instead of parentheses, I suggest you use commas.
Oh,
In this
okay.
case. But even though, you know what? There is a. Do you remember that commas are not as used as in Spanish?
Oh, yes.
So, commas are only used before a conjunction. This is a tip for everybody. Okay? Use commas before a fan boys conjunction. What are fan boys conjunctions? For, and, but, nor, or, yet, so. So it'll be person, comma, or the team first. And then, after the first, you write a period. That's the way. Otherwise, I would prefer to work alone. Exactly. Why do we need to do that period? Well, because we finished the sentence. The word otherwise is not a connector. This is an introductory adverb.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would prefer to work alone. And, again, and is a fan voice conjunction. So what would you do with a period?
Like this.
Exactly. When I see a period and a part, I expect a new idea.
Oh.
But a new idea, a new chain of thought. This is not a chain of thought. This is like the last idea of the sentence.
Yes.
No? You have an extra comma?
Here.
That's right. And I want to explain it with more detail in the following paragraphs. That looks like a thesis statement. Very good.
Okay.
Let's go with Fed. When we are talking about school projects, I would rather to work with classmates in order to make an easier, funnier, and better experience. Perfect. Same thing with the comma. In Spanish, we use commas to stop and breathe, right? In English, commas don't do this task. Connectors do the task. So whenever you have in order to is a connector. This is the moment when a native person will stop and breathe naturally. The comma is not needed.
Okay.
And
in here,
this one is right because you are making a list.
Okay.
List number 1, comma, list number 2, and list number 3. That's right.
Okay. And in here, the Google Meet says that it's rather work instead of rather to work.
Precisely. Because the word rather is not a verb.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes.
So you should use, if it's a verb, you need a connector too. If it's not a verb, you need a connector. No, you need only the word
Okay.
rather. Very good, Fer. Finished. Sophie, first of all, I think the options are good opportunities to learn. Nevertheless, I think, working with classmates is better. Okay, nevertheless is not a connector. Okay, so therefore, it's not necessary to use a comma. Commas are only used with connectors.
Okay.
So we need to end your idea and start the second with nevertheless.
Okay, so I take it off a comma before
Exactly.
nevertheless, because it is
Exactly.
like a connector. Well,
What do you need?
it separates my idea like this.
Perfect. But nevertheless, it's not a connector. You need to stop the first sentence and continue a new sentence.
Okay.
How do you do that? With a period. Exactly. No, don't erase nevertheless.
Mm.
No. That's important information. But of course, exactly, in a capital letter and a comma. An introductory adverb is used with commas always. Connie used otherwise. Fair used in the next paragraph. No. No, Fair didn't use any of them. And you use nevertheless. That's precisely the point. Introductory adverbs such as nevertheless, although, even though, um, finally, usually, things like that. Okay? Nevertheless, I think working with classmates is better in order to achieve the main goal, which is to learn more and which is to learn more for me. Okay, we have too many commas, way too many commas. Did you hear what we said with Fer about commas?
Okay. So
Do you remember what we said?
that you use the commas to separate. No, I don't remember because I still writing.
Okay, let's repeat that.
Mm.
In Spanish, we use commas to stop and breathe, right?
Okay.
In English, connectors do that, not commas.
Okay.
So some of your commas are expressed as if it were Spanish. That one is one.
Okay.
It's
So
better
in
in
this
order
case,
to
the comma is disconnector in order to.
exactly. This is the part where I breathe in order to achieve the main goal, comma, which is also commas are sometimes used before relative connectors, which, that, who, etc. So this one is correct, which is to
Okay.
learn more, comma, for me.
Also, this comma is right too.
This comma is wrong. Are you
Use the comma as if it was Spanish. Yeah.
as if it was Spanish, exactly.
In the following paragraph.
In the following paragraphs, I will explain with my own examples about
Why?
why I am pretty sure you can learn more working with your classmates. In the following paragraphs, I will explain my own examples why I'm pretty sure you can learn more working. Okay, yeah, doesn't sound wrong. Perfect. All right, let's go with Alex. When we are thinking about the best way to work in school projects is countable. Are you talking about one school project or many school projects?
In the infinitive,
What happened?
Sorry?
I repeat. School project is countable. Are you talking about one school project or many school projects?
In I talking in general.
In general. So you
It's
need to
not
speak in
not
plural.
not not of the not of one.
Exactly. So as it is countable, you need to select. If you're speaking about one, you need a. If you're speaking about general, you need to speak in plural.
Okay.
Corrected?
Correct.
But we are thinking about the best way to work on school project. Excellent. We have to discern. Discern is a C1 word. Very good. Between, if it's okay, be careful with that, Alex. Two connectors. Never use double connectors. The word between is a connector, and the word if is a connector.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
anyway, if it's more practical, work alone, work with classmates, or work with tutor. That's right. Here you have three choices. Do you agree?
Yes.
What connector do we use when you speak about choices? That was exactly the topic of today.
Mm, no, I don't see that part.
Yes, you saw the part. The first part was over here. Are you watching the Zoom screen?
Yes.
Look at this.
Or whether.
Right? Our connector, sorry, is a connector. Whether or is a connector used to express a doubt or choice.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
So we have to discern whether it's more practical. Exactly. It's more practical work alone. It's a mistake there. Whether it's more practical work alone. When you have an adjective and then a verb, you need a connector.
If it's no, whether it's more.
I repeat, when you have an adjective and then a verb, you need a connector. Practical is an adjective, work is a verb.
Work.
Exactly, always.
Okay.
Adjectives and verbs like this, okay?
Okay.
Whether it's more practical to work alone, work with lessons, or with a tutor. Now, parallel structure. If the first verb was to work, you need to use the same structure with the next two verbs because it's a list.
Okay.
Or, exactly. And tutor is countable. What do you need?
Sorry, I have issues with the autocorrector.
I know. All right. Why the apostrophe?
Sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Ah,
Is the app, no?
Yes.
Okay. Tutors. Anyway, that's not the best way because tutor, we usually have one, not many.
Mm,
What do you think?
no.
What?
I don't know.
What? You don't know what?
Um, uh, what do you ask me?
Okay, I repeat. So tutors is not the
Uh-huh.
best way to talk about this because do we usually have, how many tutors do we usually have when you have a tutor?
One.
One, not many.
Yes.
Therefore, in this case, the situation was better to use a tutor instead of tutors,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
right?
Yes.
Your personal opinion, that choice depends, apostrophe. Depends. And collocations. This is something we did need to cover. A B2 ability is to use the correct connector according to the word. Depends about, don't correspond. It's depend on.
Okay.
That just depends on the situation because if the project is too complicated, many people could do more confused. I don't understand this part. For homework, you are going to correct this one, and this one. All right? And of course, complete your topic statement.
Okay.
Okay? Finish it for homework. We're going to continue tomorrow. Very good class, guys. Have a good day and excellent topic statements, guys. We'll continue tomorrow with the buddy.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye
You
bye.
too. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.